Good morning and welcome to the allotment. I've just come down today just to do the odd few jobs. One of the jobs is just weeding in and out of the brassica tunnel, and then I've got a couple of other little things to harvest. Finish off getting the onions out, removing the red onions. I had a bit of a disaster with the garlic. As you saw ages ago when I harvested it, it looked quite good. I think what I've done is I've left it in the greenhouse over that hot period, and some of it has started to soften. So I've probably lost about 35% of that. So it's a lesson learned. Drying's one thing, roasting's another. What I'm going to do today is just take you for a quick walk around our allotment site, just to show you and give you an idea of the size of it. We're based here in Leeds, in the south of Leeds, and I think it's one of the biggest allotments that we've got in the city, if I'm correct. So come on, let's go. I'll take you for a walk around. So here we go. We'll start off outside my plot and head off down this lane. Our site's made up of 3 lanes like this. As you can see, that's the end there, but if I spin round slowly, it goes all the way up there. So they are quite long lanes with a number of sites and plots that are not taken, and I think this lady's just come off. You can see over there where the shed was burnt down. Bit of a task for anybody wanting to take that on, I'll say that. This old shed's been up absolutely years. A guy made it, but he's no longer here. But it just shows you how innovative people are. Just a little bit of plastic over the top of the roof, and they're growing all sorts inside there. This is a half plot on our site. It's one of the smaller ones, I'd say. It's just because it's on the smaller side of the lane. This one's very well kept. This is another plot that's nobody's on at the moment, but there's an abundance of wildflowers there. I guess you could call it rewilding. Now this is another lovely plot, is this one. Really well looked after. A beautiful little chalet up at the top. Absolutely dedicated allotmenteers are these lot, I'll tell you. And again on the next plot. Look at that. Absolutely superb. An abundance of stuff growing there. And that's the very last one on the bottom of my lane. And then we reach the bottom end. This goes right down to the very end there, and that takes you up the way. There's one in the middle. We'll go straight to the end, I think. So that's the centre lane. So we come down the right hand side. This is the centre, but we're heading down to the left hand side. I must admit, we've got some fantastic sheds on our side. I think this eventually is going to be a car park. It's supposed to be taking all this down and then putting some stone down to create more parking. I think this guy who's been on here has been here the longest, and he has obviously his own style of growing. But let me tell you something, the produce that this guy produces is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Takes it to shows, wins hands down all the time. As I say, not everybody's a neat freak like me. That's not what it's all about. It's all about enjoying growing, and this guy certainly does. We're now on the far lane on our way up. We have toilets there. Quite a long way from my plot, if I'm caught short. We're quite fortunate on our site. I think it's every other plot on one side of the lane, on both sides of the lane should I say, every 2 plots there's a water pipe, so not too far to go for the water. On this far side there's quite a few plots that are empty. This side, I think they don't deliberately let this one out because it floods. All the water seems to run off from the top there down into here, and it can be 2 feet deep. So I don't think they let that off deliberately for that reason. Lovely rose arch and lavender walk. Well, I think this grapevine is winning the battle against the shed, bursting out of every single hole, every single window. Nature is a true force. So that's the end of the far lane. Every now and then we have little paths going across, linking each lane, so you've got little shortcuts. And I'm going to head off up that way back towards my plot. Here we have the stores and the community hut where we have committee meetings. We've got some raised beds here for people who, elderly people or people with any sort of disabilities. And then if we head back down this way, this is the middle road, and it brings you into the bottom of my plot. As I mentioned before, I've got 2, so there's a road on either side. So we're coming into the bottom. This is looking a bit untidy actually. I need to get a grip of this. So this is the bottom of my plot. So all underneath there is my logs. This is where last season's logs were. So these will get used this season. That will get filled later on this month, hopefully. But I've got a lot of work to do down here. And as you see, coming to the more familiar site of my plot. Well, I'm walking back up towards the shed. This is where the garlic was. I've removed 2 of those beds because I want to try and make room for my bench, which is really close to the tree. So there's going to be some membrane go down on there, and there's going to be some wood chip, and that table is going to move further over here. As I say, I've got a number of beds, too many really, so you know, losing 2 ain't going to make much difference. And check out that dahlia. She's now starting to send some buds out. Glorious sight when this is in flower. And this is the job that I'm going to be starting next. This is my sun shelter, shade area. It gets really hot down here, and I need to get this paved out. So I'm going to be using these blocks that I took out of the greenhouse, along with some more that I've got at home, to get that blocked out. So that's something that's going to get done quite imminently. So there we go, that was a quick tour of our allotment site. I hope you enjoyed that. I will be back with you at the weekend at some point. Hopefully you'll join me. Until then, have a great rest of the week and happy growing.